Welcome, dear listener, to the Right Here, Right Queer podcast. This is Noah Hawthorne, and today we have Chapter 2 of Phantom and Rook, narrated by Kirt Graves. Enjoy!
Hey, witch. Thatch. As you can see, everything's in working order. Building has been standing longer than I have, but you'll have that in Old Town. Contracts were just renewed with the kingdom. Shipments come once a month, and the staff are great, though the mural out front will have to be fixed up. Oh, the latest one I hired, he'll need some training, but he's a good one, I promise.
I follow behind the shopkeeper that doesn't remember me, but that bothers me not. I'll visit his mother's grave tomorrow. Not that she would remember me either. Guilt eats away at my insides. I wish I could have seen Mrs. Thitwhistle off to the next world. She was the epitome of hospitality, and her son takes after her gentle side. The old man was a downright bastard, but he left when Gleason was just a babe, and it seems the boy turned out more than all right. I trace along bookshelves, caressing the engraved detailing hidden in the wood. I find no tacky dust there, same as the last time I visited. The city, has changed infinitely in the last 80 years, but Thitwhistle's hasn't changed a bit. Most of Old Town is the same as it's ever been, but especially here. It's perfect, I say, smiling down at the half-katan. Pride lifts Gleason's chin high. He reties his mousy hair back, and we leave the expansive back end of the shop behind, where aisles upon aisles of books sleep. We enter the open and spacious cafe section. The barrister counters and refrigerated display cases are centered on a raised, half-moon plaza that dominates the head of the cafe. The once white tiles of the dais are painted cobalt and spattered with stardust-clouded constellations. Vibrant colors of the night flow beneath our feet, extending into a river that swirls around the raised area and spreads out to blanket the rest of the wood floor in starry clouds. The lapis astronomy theme, accented by gold, continues throughout the shop. Much different from the earthy tones Mrs. Thitwhistle used, but I think it's a rather nice touch. The lofty ceiling of the entire place is filled with golden galaxies and meteors, Milky Ways and dying planets. More paint detailing shows up in random places. The artist's touch reaches every subtle inch of the room. Lines of planets along the edge of a table, shooting stars over top of a curving window frame, explosive golden bursts of light that make my heart ache. Curtains drape alongside each of the unique round windows facing the street, which are quite a few. The heavy royal blue fabrics are embroidered in simple gold along the edges, and match the upholstered lounge chairs and couches nestled by the fireplaces. Dual hearths rest on the east and west sides of the room, accompanied by chessboards, small tables, and the furniture which the college kids are currently taking advantage of. Enormous groups congregate around both roaring fires. Laughter rolls through the gossip, and small talk thickens the warm atmosphere. Thitwhistle's feels like someone's grand study open to the public rather than a bookstore, complete with coffee beans and scones, and I've never felt more at home. The crowd is equal parts magical beings and humans, young, old, and everything in between. There are a few older folks tucked into a corner, eyes crinkling and steam curling around mugs which hide their smiles. A set of half-shifted werewolf pups tug on their mother's sleeve, begging for the monster-hot cocoa, complete with candy and whipped cream on top. She rolls her eyes with a smile in humanoid form, then orders 3 of the drinks and half a dozen donuts for the bus ride to Full Moon's Field. "Scone?" Gleason asks from my side, patiently watching me take in the scene with a sly smile on his slightly creased face. Half-Katan don't live as long as their magical parents usually do, but a couple 100 years all the same. I reach down and take it from him, then bring the pastry to my nose and inhale deeply. Maca and walnut. I glance down at Gleason with a wicked smile despite myself. "You do remember me." Gleeson flushes, then tucks a strand of escaped hair behind his softly pointed ear.
"Indeed, but I must admit, I thought you were just a childhood fever dream at first, but seeing you here now, that's not true, is it?"
That's how most people describe their memories of me. The blurred edges of a dream that fades the harder they try to remember. It doesn't hurt when old friends, acquaintances at best really, forget me. I've long gotten used to the feeling of perpetually being alone, but my heart aches in an unfamiliar way. I apologize I wasn't here to see your mother off. Truly. She was a wonderful woman, and to be honest, the thought of owning this place... I inhale sharply, and a moment of worry creases Gleeson's thick brows. It would be an honor. May I ask, why are you selling? Gleeson glances at the trio of baristas flitting behind the counter and throughout the patrons, then gestures for me to follow him. I do, and he leads me out front, to my surprise. Bells ring when the door, paned with coloured patchwork glass, opens. The nightlife of the old town meets my ears the moment he opens it, but Gleeson abruptly stops in the doorway. I halt in time so I don't step on his heel, and his wide eyes catch my attention. Gleeson presses a hand to his chest and takes one small step at a time, staring reverently at the front of the store.
"Fat kid,"
he whispers breathily, and it's not until I've joined his side again that I find what he's looking at. The once crumbling storefront has been restored to beyond its former glory. The faded mural, which held a portrait of Mrs. Thitwhistle hauling 2 armfuls of books over her broad shoulders, has been painted over. A mural of the solar system, with the unique bookstore itself as the center of the universe, stretches from one end of the storefront to the other. The family sigil of the Thitwhistles hides in the stardust of a galaxy, along with the words, "Knowledge is life." Standing tall in the center of the tremendous round 2-story building is the paned door we came through, flanked by the mishmash of round windows on either side. The same gold and blue color palette from inside the bookstore inspires the mural and trim. The paint shimmers underneath the lamplights lining the street, smooth against the cobbled surface. Underneath a window, I notice a decent-sized canvas that matches the mural. I kneel before it and brush a thumb over the artist's signature done in white, indecipherable, but my heart skips all the same. I take the canvas and offer it to Gleeson, but he's caressing the miniature bookstore floating on a cloud of stardust. His fingers settle on the family sigil. Then he clears his throat, glancing sideways at me.
"Shit like this makes me want to stay."
Gleeson huffs out a laugh, then gently takes the canvas from me and studies it.
Kid down the street. He's the one who did all the artwork on the inside over the past few years. And now this. Always when I'm not looking. Won't take any money for it. He's bored, he says. Ah, fuck. Sorry.
Gleeson wipes his wide nose with his flannel sleeve, sniffling. Don't fret. Tears bother me none. Good for the soul, I say. I pat his shoulder and he nods. The streets have begun to thicken. Patrons move past us to enter the bookstore, waving to Gleeson as they do. He nods to them, rallying himself once we're alone again.
I want to see the world. Took me so fucking long to even think about it. What would Mama say, you know? She always said this place was enough, and it is, but I want more. I want to go on adventures, Mr. Phantom. That's why I want to sell. Silly, isn't it? Leave this behind for some fantasy at my age.
I stare directly into his eyes. Doing what you love isn't silly. I admire you, Gleeson, and I think you should do it. And I'm not just saying that because I want your bookstore, but because I think your mama would want you to. As long as you don't forget to visit, of course. I can hear her saying it now. I gesture dramatically before us, and he chuckles, eyes brightening.
You're a devil, Mr. Phantom. All right, let's sign some paperwork.
Wonderful. Gleason wipes his eyes, and I brush the dust off my earthy joggers, then straighten my hoodie. Casual, low-key as always.
Oh, I almost forgot to show you upstairs. That comes with the place, too.
Gleason says over his shoulder. A studio, right?
Oh, well, after Mama passed, I split it up into apartments. Keeping up with the times, enough college kids keep them full usually. They'll both be empty if you wanted to keep one for yourself and rent the other. Not sure if you have prior arrangements.
I think about the flooded cottage waiting for me by the lakeside. Even after I fix it up, I'll be secluded. I don't want to hide away this go-round. I want to enjoy the time I have here with the people. What a splendid idea. I am a lone rock in the chaotic river that is Market Street. My heart swells with each inhalation of spices and bump of the elbow. The harmonious notes from saxophones, clarinets, and guitars ride the wind, and a soft breeze lifts the tussle of curls poking out from beneath my hood. I ever so slowly turn in place, attempting to absorb the heart of Old Town one smidgen at a time. Garin Castle is a sentinel in the distance. Another old friend I need to visit is there. But not tonight. If she doesn't remember me, that will hurt infinitely more than Gleason's blurred memory. She will. She always does, after a little reminding. I bury my hands in my pockets and begin my descent into madness. The wide berth of Market Street diverges from the pleasant Garin Road, which houses the relics of the olden days, such as the castle itself, along with cosy cottages and vital businesses of old. The entirety of Market Street is swallowed by gorgeous vendor stalls, decorated in vibrant oranges and reds. Trolley lines are the only interruption in the crowd. Musicians linger on the street sides, which eventually double back on Garin Road, but not before taking a long walk downhill. Not much has changed on this flat, paved street. The same brick residential buildings that have been here for a century or two hide behind the endless rainbow array of merchant stalls. All the brick has been freshened up, canary yellows and apple reds, ocean blues and rosy pinks. Store locations are kept in the family, corresponding to the residences behind them, and rarely move once a spot is claimed. Only the vendors change over time. Or that's how it used to be. What they sell has changed drastically over the years, that's for sure. Where food and raw materials used to reign are now finished crafts, fine jewelry, and specialty materials for trade work, along with the basics like fresh food. At the distant end of the street are the stalls intended for witches. The vendors there are some of my favorites. I take out my notepad and pencil, jotting down a few things that are noticeably different this time around, from phones to clothing and slang I've picked up thus far. I don't miss the oversized posters plastered on building sides, all dedicated to the Scarlet Illusionist. The sight of the vigilante hidden under a masquerade mask in the shape of a leaf and layers of ruby fabric always makes me chuckle. I've yet to find out who coined that term, or who decided I wear red. The only visible physical features of the illusionist are the eyes, which, of course, are the wrong color, a bright green that rivals the first-born leaves of spring. I put away my notepad and continue down the street. Wreaths of butter-yellow sunflowers, burnt orange and red leaves, violet asters, and earthy sage hang around iron-wrought lamp-posts. The 15-foot-tall sentinels are simultaneously powered on by the local Learys, warming the night by way of stored solar power that sparks to life like an honest fire. That was an up-and-coming technology last time I visited, and it seems they've gotten the hang of it. Red and orange silk flies in triangular banners from one side of the street to the other, crisscrossing back and forth down the entire path. One symbol marks them, an infinity sign. I chuckle upon seeing it, but my amusement dies swiftly. The civilians of Lebanon seem to top themselves year after year with festivities, especially in the downtown. But here, the decorations scream hominess and welcome, the beautiful, handcrafted quality apparent in every detail. I try to reconcile who I truly am with what they think of me, and although I love the praise, it feels too much. All I do is hide, that's all. Is that worth celebrating? I become truly lost for the first time, neck craned and eyes wandering fenced-in rooftops. I'm curious as to what one group of people in particular is doing, situated on a widow's peak, and whooping loudly. Sparks are flaring. Is that fire? And that's when I crashed into him. Or he crashed into me, rather. Paper bags launch into the air. Glass jars loaded with herbs and paint rain down around me. My ass plummets towards the ground. I brace myself and throw my arms back, slamming my eyes closed, but I don't make an impact with the stone. Instead, I find a thick arm around my waist and a strong pair of eyes that can't decide if they want to be green or brown. Air whooshes out of me, and time stops as I stare deep into them, right down to his soul, one that clearly does not remember me, but calls to my heart all the same. It stings more than I thought it would. I briefly give the rather pissed-off barn owl circling above us a moment of attention, then I study his face once more. He's changed immensely since the last time we met. Dimples and laugh lines have been replaced by hard-set creases of worry and irritation. By the stars, I didn't even need to look for him. Once again, we're pulled together. Not that I would need a second confirmation, but the dark splash of a birthmark along the right side of his severely angled jaw is present, flaring the same bright gold as the first time we met. His cheeks are soft, flushed and partially hidden beneath waves of soft black falling from beneath a knitted beanie. He's hiding. He blinks once, black lashes sweep across his cheeks and catch the lamplight. And just like that, time marches on. I shakily recompose myself and take hold of his thick bicep veiled in a loosely knitted rainbow duster that extends to his wrists. Underneath is an incredibly loose black tank top, revealing miles of deep brown skin. I pull myself to standing, and we separate by inches, but it takes another moment for his hard stare to leave me. During the seconds when the world stopped, his eyes never strayed from me. Searching. I pray for the first time in a long time. Even though I know they don't care about me, I pray that they allow him to remember me, just once. But instead, he remembers the mess we created, now currently being trampled on by the crowds around us. Watch where you're going, you know," he mutters in a rusty baritone, like he meant to come off as pissed, but instead it's quiet annoyance. I lock away my weeping heart and kneel down to help him, gathering glass jars full of paint that definitely should have broken and pads of paper that are now covered in footprints. I frown at the dirty prints. I don't remember the people here being so careless. I hand them to him, my fingers brush against his, which are stained with blue paint, and I receive a buzzing sensation in my fingertips. His eyes flick between our hands and the paper, as if I've tainted his things. His irises are a rich brown now, deep and near black, the hazel-green magic gone from them. We both stand and stare at the other. I apologize. I'm new to Lebanon, got a bit turned round. I didn't mean to. The warm, syrupy voice I've pulled on, one that melts even iciest of hearts, is reduced to a screech when explosions rock the night. Shamelessly, I yelp and take hold of the bewildered man's sides, clinging to his duster. The yarn is soft beneath my panicked grip. He's a full 2 heads taller than I am. My face presses to the bottom of his sternum. His hands hover at my sides, but don't touch. Are we under attack? Why? Where? The incredibly heated and firm body pressed against me shakes, and after a moment, I realize it's with laughter. I look up, finding amusement written across his face. A hint of plum paint plays at his upturned lips. Oh my, that suits him.
Newcomer, I guess so. It's just the fireworks.
He doesn't put hands on me, but one lifts. I step back, preparing for him to push me away. I am a stranger to him, after all. But he only points up. The stars are exploding. I watch in pure awe as red and orange streak into the sea of twilight overhead. The scent of black powder and magic burns out my nostrils. With each boom, my heart rattles out of its cage with eye-watering joy. I've seen many things since this rock started turning, but none so beautiful as this. Green intermingles with the Scarlet Illusionist's color theme, and I sigh. Speaking of beautiful, I glance back at the witch, only to find empty space. His first name is there, right there on the tip of my tongue, but not his last. He didn't have one before, but I'm sure he does now. I can't yell out his name. He doesn't remember me. I'm a stranger. A stranger. He sticks out in the crowd, nearly the same height as the few treants and centaurs milling about, and that damned barn owl is perched on his head, nestled into his slouched beanie. I call out to him the only way I know how, waving ridiculously. Hey, witch! He stops, as do others in the crowd. Curious eyes bore into him and me. He pulls the front of his hat down, but not far enough to hide the daggers he glares at me over his shoulder. Whoops. Well, I've already caused a scene. I sprint through the crowd, which seamlessly parts for me as more onlookers become interested in our ordeal, or rather the presence of a witch. Witches weren't infamous the last time I was here, so why are they making a big deal about him? Or maybe it's me acting a fool. That's probably it. By the time I reach him, he still hasn't moved a muscle, not even to tilt his head towards me more. I breathlessly reach his side and pull back my hood. His jaw flickers and his eyes dart up to my hair. I'm betting it's a mess. Let's go out sometime. I owe you that much for making a mess of your things. He balks, and the slightest bit of green swims to life in his eyes. A mischievous smile takes hold, but then he shakes his head and the smile away.
Can't, but thanks. Enjoy the festival.
I open my lips, but the owl chirps, a bizarre noise, and cracks open a yellow eye to glower at me. The man rolls his eyes at the bird, then glances back at me with a renewed emerald glow ringed around his irises. He makes to leave, but I wring my hands and blurt out ridiculousness first. I'd enjoy it much more with a local to show me around. I'm not looking for anything, just a friend, I managed to squeak out. Oh dear stars, am I blushing? All I earn for my awkwardness is a second's-long sly grin, then the back of his head as he walks away from me. Again. I become a stone in the river, allowing the crowd to part around me. I wonder when the last time was that I experienced embarrassment. Have I ever been truly embarrassed? Well, I certainly have now.
This has been Phantom and Rook by Aelina Isaacs. You can find out more about this title by checking out my website, which is neshimapublishing.com. Thank you.